Arizona Attorney General Kris Mayes has escalated a political standoff into a legal battle by filing a lawsuit against U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson. The suit demands the immediate swearing-in of Democrat Adelita Grijalva, who was decisively elected to the House of Representatives in a special election on September 23, 2025. Grijalva won the election to fill the seat of her late father, Raul Grijalva, in Arizona's 7th Congressional District. The core of the controversy is the Speaker's delay in administering the oath of office, a delay that has left nearly 1 million Arizonans without a fully empowered voice in Congress. The lawsuit filed in a federal court in Washington, D.C., argues that Johnson's refusal is an unconstitutional interference with the state's right to representation and the voters' will. It highlights that the state has certified the election results, and Grijalva meets all constitutional qualifications, making the swearing-in a routine ministerial duty, not a discretionary political tool. This is a rare instance of a state's chief legal officer challenging the internal operations of a co-equal branch of the federal government, underscoring the severity of the partisan dispute. Reasons for the delay. Speaker Johnson and the House Republican leadership have offered several justifications for the prolonged delay. House schedule and session. Johnson initially stated that Grijalva would be sworn in when the House returns to a regular legislative session, often blaming the ongoing government shutdown and the House's extended recess periods. He also suggested he was delaying the ceremony to provide the new member with pomp and circumstance. Partisan precedent. Johnson has pointed to the 25-day delay in swearing in Republican Rep. Julia Letlow in 2021, when Democrats controlled the House, as a precedent. Although Democrats note Johnson has sworn in other Republican special election winners within days of their victories, sometimes during brief pro forma sessions. However, the primary reason for the delay, as alleged by Democrats in the lawsuit, is a direct political maneuver: the Epstein files discharge petition. Adelita Grijalva has pledged to be the crucial 218th signature on a bipartisan discharge petition that would force a floor vote on a bill to release the Justice Department files related to the sex trafficking investigation into the late Jeffrey Epstein. By delaying her swearing-in, Speaker Johnson is effectively blocking this vote, protecting the White House from an embarrassing political and legislative defeat. Consequences. The consequences of this partisan obstruction are multifaceted. Disenfranchisement of constituents. The most immediate and serious consequence is the denial of constitutional representation to the over 800,000 residents of Arizona's 7th Congressional District. Grijalva, though elected, lacks the official capacity to vote on legislation, join committees, sponsor bills, access funding, or provide critical constituent services like assistance with Social Security, veteran benefits, or help with federal agencies. Erosion of democratic norms. The deliberate stalling of a duly elected member's seating for political leverage sets a dangerous precedent, cheapening the sanctity of the electoral process and weaponizing the Speaker's procedural power. Legal and constitutional conflict. The lawsuit forces a confrontation between the judicial and legislative branches over the House's power to judge the elections, returns, and qualifications of its own members versus the constitutional guarantee of full state representation. Prediction and solutions. Prediction. The lawsuit's primary effect is likely to be political pressure rather than a swift judicial victory. While the legal argument that the Speaker has violated a non-discretionary constitutional duty is strong, federal courts are traditionally hesitant to interfere with the internal operations of Congress. The court may ultimately rule that the issue is a non-justiciable political question. However, the immense public and legal pressure is expected to be the true catalyst. Speaker Johnson has already begun to shift his public stance, and a prolonged legal and media battle over taxation without representation and shielding the Epstein files is politically damaging. It is highly likely that Grijalva will be sworn in shortly, either voluntarily by the Speaker before the court rules, or once the House is forced back into a full session to address the government shutdown. Solutions. Political resolution. Most likely, the most immediate and cleanest solution is for Speaker Johnson to fulfill his ministerial duty and administer the oath. The can choose to do this during a pro forma session or immediately upon the House's return to legislative business. Judicial intervention, uncertain. The lawsuit asks the federal court to issue a declaratory judgment affirming Grijalva's right to office, and if Johnson refuses, to authorize another official, like a federal judge, to administer the oath. A favorable ruling could compel the House's action or provide a constitutional workaround. House Rules Reform. To prevent future partisan abuses of the swearing-in process for non-contested elections, the House could adopt a formal rule that sets a clear short deadline for administering the oath to a certified special election winner, removing the Speaker's discretion.